Hi, welcome back. This one is for Stacey, aka Ladyshadow 79, who's eagerly anticipating the arrival of her Ron Manson Hake from somewhere. So Stacey, for an absolute beginner with the Hake, well, I know I take it for granted that when I say something simple, it took a long time to become simple, and I'm still struggling. Right, important things first. Got my cup of tea. English, you see, we love our tea. Although I believe coffee is more popular, but not with me. I've gone back to the old palette, so we've got cadmium yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey, and burnt sienna. I won't use all of them. It's just my basic palette. My new palette, which I've been using for a week, has got rid of the burnt umber and the Payne's grey, and I've added yellow ochre and hooker's green to give me a greater range, but it's still only a limited palette. Right, okay, now first thing to do, and I'm working on Fabriano £130. It's a very cheap paper, very good for wet in wet, so I'm going to show you how I do wet in wet as best I can and not be too quick to gloss over too many things. So this is quite a smooth paper, so as it dries, the high spots on the paper will take a dry brush where you scrape the brush over the high spots just to get that sparkle. We use washes to fill everything in, but we use dry brush just to scoot over the top to give that crazed look. It's very attractive in watercolour. I'm having trouble with my wrist at the moment. I think it's an age thing. Anyway, I'll take the crepe things off. Right, okay, so the big problem that you'll have with your Hake is the amount of water that it contains, especially a new one. And it also behaves itself right from the beginning, but we don't. But we tend to blame the Hake for our inadequacies, lack of practice, blah blah blah. So I'm going to wet the paper all over, but not so wet that it's slopping down the page and falling off the bottom. If that happens, then just mop it with a dry Hake. Take it off the bottom, just squeeze it out. Don't pull the hairs on your Hake, just squeeze with the fingers and shape with your fingers. Right, okay. Now we're doing a landscape, so what we want, but I'm not making rules for anybody, it's just the way I do it. So we use a bit of raw sienna, or in the case of the new palette, some yellow ochre, and just put in a blush of alizarin. We're going to do a Lakeland scene, I think, which are quite straightforward. And what you put in the sky, put in the water below, because the water below, looking down, will be reflecting what's over the top. Okay, so that's that bit. Now we want the sky to go over that. The yellowy feel will give the impression of light in the sky. So bit of ultramarine. Now this particular Hake is not a good one. It's one that I've given to my grandson, but we got them muddled up. This is the one I've currently used, I think. Right, let's clean that brush. He's a bit young at 9 to use a Hake. But I'm going to give him a paint box. I've got a couple of these. I've got this one which I won't be giving away. So I take this one when I go on holiday. This is hasn't been used for a while. This is a Rowney Artist stuck. Oh dear. Oh, that's better. Well, okay, so I've got my basic palette colours in there. I've got the two yellows, I've got my red, I've got burnt sienna, don't know what they are. got ultramarine and probably Windsor blue there. Oh, that's cobalt. It's ultramarine, burnt umber. But anyway, I use smaller brushes for that. But I'm going to give him this little cracker. He's a lovely kid, and I want to give him some encouragement with arts. I have to remember that you don't really start seeing things until you're about 11. So what I'll do with that one, I'll top up the colours. I think that's a hooker's green there, and I'll give him a brush like this and a rigger, so that he can do washes on smaller scale. So there we go. That's a Winsor & Newton one. They cost a lot of money. I don't know how much they cost now, but they're superb quality. Right. Okay. It's back to the Hake. Right now, I'm going to put the ultramarine in. If the brush splits, just bring it together on the palette, not just get that in and across there, and then we'll put a bit of red, light red, into that to make a nice cloud colour. You never know with wet in wet how it's going to pan out. But remember, the clouds get smaller as you get to the horizon. And I'm going to put some of that down here. A bit thicker than that. While the paint paper is sort of wet, you can do a lot with it. So I'm going to stretch it now. You don't need to pre-stretch your paper. The old way, or the people still use of course, was to soak the paper and then gum it with some wide, the old brown tape, gummed strip, and as it all dried, the paper would start to shrink, but the tape would stop it from shrinking, so it pre-stretched. So when you painted on it, the idea is that it stayed flat. This way we stretch it as we go, and that is more than enough for our purpose. Okay, so the painting is dry. As it's in this state now, we've got some problems here, but don't worry about that. With the paper, just the shine going off of it, it's a dodgy time to attack and add paint because it will go in cauliflowers. So what I normally do is to fix it with a hairdryer. So you have to take your headphones off for this, or mute your sound. Ready, go. Well, that'll do. Now what we've got here are a couple of, this is what happens when you put too much water on your paper. So there's an example for you. Right, now we want a background. Using the Hake, cool colours go away. Cool colours recede, like blues, mauves, blue greens. Warmer colours, like, I've probably overdone that, but I'll bring the horizon down to about here to give a bit of gap in the water there. So blue, got a bit of alizarin in there if you wish. Don't want it too strong. Hills. Okay, and then underneath that we can put in some sienna and some burnt sienna. Okay, that will be some stuff. Now I've just added some colour. If this was Archer's paper, it would all, well, it would all stay where it was put, but with the right now, when you paint over wet, this was wet in wet, You need to use much thicker paints, so you need to soften your paints. You can use them out of the tube if you wish. My colours are Cotman, Winsor & Newton, student quality. You don't need to use expensive artist quality paint. I've managed without it, but although, having said that, I've got 3 colours on my other palette that are artist quality, but I had them from years ago. Right. Okay, now I'm going to go in some hard colour in here to give a nice background of trees, bit of yellow. Right, let's just, whoops, need more water. I'm just dipping the brush into the water, just the corner of it. Put a bit of blue in there. Now we'll get some more burnt sienna in there. So this is a thick paint, and before it's dry, we can etch into it. Though the brush is split rather badly, because it's dry, it needs a bit of water on it. So there's a bit of yellow, bit of red. Just warm up this distant bank of trees here a little bit, and we can put in some blue. Well, just give a bit of distant feel to don't make everything all symmetrical. Right, okay, so there we are. That will dry, and while that's drying, I'll have a swig of tea. And as it's drying, you can etch out, mask. Look, with a fingernail. If you bite your nails, stop, because you won't be able to do this. Okay, I'll just go along there with a bit of dark. So I don't use a lot of burnt umber. That's why I'm scrapping it. I've got burnt sienna on the palette, and with this palette anyway, I could add a little bit of Payne's grey to the burnt sienna and end up with a very similar colours of burnt umber. But it's my choice. The colours, basically the Ron Ransom palette, but you can use whatever colours you like, whatever you're used to. Don't change because I'm using it. You work out your own palette. And actually very similar to what I did yesterday. I'm going to have some lighter colour. Oh, I've got raw umber on my palette as well. Not on this one, but on the other one. So this is a sort of a beach. So I'm going to get some red and some bit of ochre in there, or raw sienna. Well, the shadow in there. Okay, nice and dark, blue and brown. Okay, so that'll do for that. I'm going to recut the paper. And while that's wet, I'm going to lift out with a bit of card. So have a piece of credit card, an old store card, P&Q diamond card because I'm old. And then while that's still a bit wet, just scrape into it. And give an impression of rocks. And you can also do some grasses, reeds. like me, you can overdo, a little goes a long way, you can overdo all this. I love overdoing it. Okay, so we'll leave that alone now. We'll go back over to this side with that clip, have a swig of tea. Right, you following all this, Stacey? This is for you. I've never done that before, given someone a name on a painting, as far as I know, other than recommend that you watch them on YouTube. Right, now we want another bank over here. So we're using those nice warm colours. Red, burnt sienna, and I'm going to put in some I'll do a bit of rigger work on that. Get my head in the way. So this is a bit of a bank in there. So we have a bit of green. All with the edge of the hake, because it's dry and the paper's drying out now. I'm just exploiting that dryness look, it's just hitting and missing now. With the rougher Bockingford, Saunders, Archer's paper, this would be more pronounced. Right, I'm just putting some very heavy dry brush. All these calls I'm getting there. It's on WhatsApp. My brother-in-law is very elderly now. He fell over in his front garden, his path. He trod on the welt of the other foot on the shoe, and when he went to lift that foot, well, he couldn't, so he toppled over and broke his hip. So there's a family all rallying round. Okay, so now this is really uncomplicated. I know I've done a lot of it, but it is very elementary. I'm not rushing it, but we're going to put some couple of rocks there. They're not particularly good, probably because that blue underneath is stopping that working. So we'll okay, that'll do. That'll dry. It all dries lighter when you put it on, so you have to compensate for that. Now let's get a bit of texture in this side here now. Burnt sienna and a bit of red, a bit of blue. That's my way of making a bit of black. Let's just a little bit of texture. I can put some back over there because I didn't like that. Okay, now we're going to come on to doing some trees in here, some scrubby trees. Just a basic palette. Grey, the blue and the burnt sienna. And then we'll come over this, we're coming more into the painting with this one, I think. Okay, I'll use a rigger on some of this. See how dark that is, without using black or Payne's grey. Oh, I can just go right up into the canopy. You can use a rigger with all this. Let's get that thicker. Remember the trees taper. Okay, and we can put a bit of reflection in there, except you won't see much of it, it'll be behind the mount. All very delicate, but don't overdo this. But you can see how fine a twig, branch you can get with a hake. You know, look. What you put above the little beach there, just put below, look, it all works. I'm going to put some, just touch some grasses. Ooh. Just turned it off really, shouldn't I? Okay. Alright, I'm going to dry that off. Have a switch. Right, now the magic of watercolour and the hake, although you can do this with a large round sable, of course. I'm just cleaning my brush, taking off a lot of the water. Now we're into spring now, just about. In UK we've had a bit of a mixed spring, so I'm just using cadmium yellow, mostly yellow, and using the edge of the hake, like that bit there. Using that bit, just gently stroke over in the direction of the branches. It needs to be darker, so a bit of sienna with that, I think. A bit more blue. Warm that yellow up with that, with the brown. Look, just very gentle this, with a little bit of water on the brush. You don't want to overdo it because you'll ruin it. It's a very delicate stroke. It took me a long time to do this. You hopefully will do it much quicker than me, but I'm going to put some colour behind. But that cooler colour will hopefully give the impression that there are some leaves, branches behind. And we'll get a bit darker. So that's the other side of it. Put in some dark. Get that in there, so we've got hopefully a three-dimensional look. Right, that'll do. I'm going to just enhance that side there a little bit, but let's with the hake, let's just usually have a bit of tissue just to show some wind ruffle. Make a bit more out of that one. You need a fairly dry or damp hake for that. Okay, that'll do. That nothing more than that. We can put in a few ripples if we wish. Right, okay. I'll just put a little bit of texture on that side just to balance up, and maybe a little figure. if that's a good thing or not now. Okay, that one's obviously further back than that one. Right, let's put in a couple of little, if I can find a space for some figures. I will use a small round brush. This is a sable. We'll put on I'll put a figure in there, just standing on the bank, mostly obscured. I'll use a nice bit of sienna, or sienna. I'll just put right, that's a bit of, give him a head, or her a head. Okay, so he'll do. Will he show up as a reflection? Probably not, too far out. Okay, I'll sign that one. That one. Just a black acrylic pen. Right, oh, don't forget a couple of birds. No rigor on this one apart from the birds. So just a bit of paint, a bit of palette grey. Just little tiny birds. There we go. So there we are. I'll put it in the mount. Oop. Like that. Don't want it sliding off the board. Enough. And when you finish, or I haven't finished my tea, with a bit of kitchen tissue, clean off your palette so it's ready for the next time. Yeah, that's non-stop, isn't it? Right. Well, right, this is for you, Stacey. Not the best I've done for a while, but since you asked, there you are. Put your name on it. I could put some more calligraphy in that, but I think enough is that's enough, really. So there you are. Visit to the Lake District. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend and your holiday if you're in the UK. See you next week. Bye bye.